just as I started my senior year, I got drafted.
Wow.
Economically, just anything was better than on the farm, so that didn't bother me. They told me, say, well, you got a promotion, say you're a kitchen policeman. And so I was waiting for my badge. They marched me around and had me to take a chair, and they pushed a bushel of white potatoes in the front of me and gave me a knife. and they said, I thought I was a kitchen policeman. So yeah, that's what you do. I was assistant baker. And after I was there for about, I guess, about 2 months, this guy really was a good baker. So he got in trouble and they threw him in the guardhouse. I don't know what happened. And they made me the head baker. That was a pretty good deal because I get up 2 o'clock in the morning. I was off at 8. You know, that was a pretty good schedule for me. And one day they called where's the guy that wear the head top hat there? Well, anyway, his name was Steve. He was over the kitchen and everything. And so he said, drop everything you done and report to your headquarters. I said, what's going on? He said, I don't know, but they meet you there. And I went there, and they had about 18 more guys there out of about 300 or 400 out of our group. And so you guys have been selected to go to school to be attached to Tuskegee Airman. I believe it was 5 guys from Tuskegee came down to train us. They said, now you'll be under the umbrella of the Tuskegeans. And so, but they don't have enough airplanes, don't have enough runways and all of that. And so people, you'll be trained here, and then they have another group trained in Chesterfield, Texas, and all. And so therefore we went to school, I believe, 33 weeks, I believe it was. They had a book about this. You've seen these insurance people with this book with the hammer? Well, that's what it looked like. When we had to break for lunch, we went to the black lunchroom, and they went to the white lunchroom, and come back in class together. That was a pretty stupid thing. And so after we finished, after we graduated, we was working in the hangar, installing an engine. And so the first sergeant said, how's everything going? We said, everything is going all right. So they have white water and black and colored water and things like that. Colored bathroom, colored white. And so he said, I'll be down there to check. And so they had these signs tacked up on the wall. It wasn't very secure. So we asked the hangar manager to take him around, the lieutenant, take him around. Every time he saw a colored sign, he's a guy weighed about 220, former football player. He just yanked it off and threw it over in the container where we put our dirty rags and stuff. And he told the guy, well, it looks like everything is going along fine. Didn't say nothing about segregation, nothing like that. And when we got in that afternoon, he called us all in. You better not go in that colored bathroom anymore. Go to that white one. So this is quite an experience. We was in the training command,
Okay.
where we made sure the aircraft was in good condition for training and all of that. Typical day, what we would do, we go and we would be assigned to certain aircrafts, make sure that they was in flying condition. First thing we do is walk all the way around the airplane, see if there's any leaks, hydraulic leaks, fuel leaks, anything like that. And then we had the crew chief. He would board the plane. He'd go and sit in the cockpit, and an assistant sat beside him. Then we had a guy on the ground. The guy on the ground had to make sure, with a fire extinguisher, make sure there's no fire. But before we start the engine, the guy on the ground had to turn the propeller over 3 times, each propeller, for each engine. See, because oil run down to the bottom cylinder. If you start it, it'll knock that whole cylinder out. You messed up a whole engine. Just that simple, you messed up a whole engine. And so the crew chief would be talking, we had earphones, be talking to the guy on the ground. We elevator, check the elevators. The elevator is, I guess, about 6 feet long within the wing. And so it has to go down so many degrees and everything for the pilot, you know, to get enough air, you know, to take off. And so we had flaps, and they had to be working properly. The rudder, the tail had to be working properly. And so we had to check out all of those things before we turned it over to the pilot. We had a form we filled out called 41B. That's the mechanic report. All right, and then we pre-flight it. Make sure we got 26 RPMs in a minute. So if it didn't check out to 26 RPM, then we had to shut it down to find out why. Because they need all that power, and these flaps have to be working perfect so it can get enough air. That's where the aircraft can be moved up. And because the pilot have to maybe go down and run away about 150 miles an hour before he put full throttle. And so we had to check, make sure you get 26 RPM as a mechanic. So when the pilot come in, he usually go by and check it out. He had a form we call a 1A that he had to fix out. Now, if anything happened to the plane, if it be mechanical stuff, then the mechanics is responsible. But if he did anything wrong, it's the pilot's fault. One problem that we had when we got in Arizona, the air was much lighter than in California. And so one aircraft was lost. It wasn't one that I worked on.
Don't make that clear.
They had to have a full investigation because everything checked out on the ground when we got up. And we had a carburetor called variable venturi carburetor. It adjusts the fuel-air mixture in proper ratio for the engine requirement. And so I believe it was 15 to 1 air, 15 and fuel, 1%. And in Arizona, the air was so light until the engine conked out because it got too much fuel. And therefore, after the investigation, they found it out. Then we had to put superchargers on all of the carburetors so it could get enough air to mix fuel in the right proportion. When I sat in the cockpit, and push it to full throttle and get 2600 PM.
That's pretty exciting.
There was so much noise. If you didn't have earphones, you couldn't hear a thing. And so that was thrilling to me. They say sign up for the reserve, but I signed up for the reserve. I said, because I said, can't be another war. I'm being smart. Can't be another war in 3 years. I ended up being a supply sergeant. We activated the 29th Heavy Tank Battalion. And I was responsible for ammunition, tanks, guns, and everything for guys after 11 days. They were reserve guys come in. While they was getting back into condition for the Army, I had to have all the supplies ready for them to go overseas. So every 11 days, I had to have all of that supply ready for them. I think I worked about 20 hours without any rest. And so I went to the first sergeant. I said, listen, I said, I want you to bust me down to a private. And he said, what's wrong? I said, I'm tired. He said, well, just take off 2 or 3 days. You'll be all right. But you can imagine, supply, you have all of these farms that fill out and all of that. And I had 2 clerks in name.
Wow.
And they wasn't too much of a help to me.
Yeah.
Got to Mariana, got off the bus. A friend of mine said, you home for good? He said, I said, yeah. You need a job? Just like that. I said, the Lord was in the plan here. He didn't plan for me to be in St. Louis. And I had signed the contract. I got that was 11 o'clock. By 4 o'clock, I had to sign the contract. Guy said, I've interviewed 6 people, and I wasn't satisfied with them. The job is yours. It's dedication, you know, not just getting in it just for money or anything like that. To think about what you can do for your country.